In today's video, I'm going to be giving a full update on all my basement aquariums as we prepare for the new custom aquarium to arrive, which will be coming in just a few days. Not only am I going to show the current state of my tanks, some fish that have moved around, some new products, equipment, and plants, but I'm going to be revealing a little bit more about what's going to be going on in this custom aquarium. I'm going to be unboxing the filtration, which I am very excited about. There's always a ton going on in my basement, so I figured I'd fill you all in. So let's dive right in. So we'll go ahead and start with the two display tanks here. This is my 180 gallon aquarium. I have my big Oscar, I have 4 Severums, I have Geophagus, I have a Bala shark, and a couple other oddballs in this tank. My Oscar is huge, and my 2 red spot-gold Severums have bred a couple times in the back right corner of the tank. This guy here and Big Red have definitely been getting busy lately. And then there are the Geophagus Tapajos or Pyrocephalus, and right now they are super colored up. They definitely go in cycles like this where sometimes they have that bright red head. Usually that's when they're about to start breeding in this tank. I did see eggs a couple weeks ago. Although the eggs usually don't last long in this tank. Then I have my turquoise Severum here. He is a huge fish with some awesome navy blue color. It's funny, anytime I do a water change or he seems stressed in the tank, he looks like a completely different fish and changes colors very rapidly. And then here you can see my black Acara is getting feisty right now. He's normally a very peaceful fish, but looks like he's bickering with a couple of the Severums. There's Big Red. And this is actually my red shoulder Severum, and this is looking probably the best he's ever looked in terms of color. But maybe he's just a late bloomer, but overall he is looking great along with the rest of the fish. But everyone's doing really well in this tank. The one major update is that I did add a female Nicaraguan Cichlid to this tank. I did have this Nicaraguan Cichlid in a temporary holding tank for a little bit too long, and it was too small of a tank long term. So I didn't have another place to put it. I just went ahead and threw her into this 180. She'll do great. I don't know how long I'm going to keep her in here. I kind of like the idea of just having South American cichlids, but until I get this new tank set up, I can't really move forward with a lot of the future plans I have for my basement, which would include this Central American cichlid in a different type of setup. So moving on to my next tank, this is my 150 gallon custom aquarium, which I absolutely love. The quality of this tank just really can't be beat, and I'm so excited to get a second custom aquarium. I currently have a Seamless Sump on this tank, and it has been great for me for about a year. I'm going to do a full update on this tank pretty soon because we're coming up on the year mark of it being set up. But the Geophagus, the electric blue Acara, the 2 angels, I have a school of denizen barbs in here. They just look great in this heavily planted tank with a lot of different Anubias and Java Fern. And the jungle val has struggled to kind of take off in the back there, but a few runners have sprouted up in the back. I actually added a few extra plants from Aquarium Co-op recently, and it's looking just really lush and green in here. And really the vision I had all along is just having a ton of different plants in this natural environment, with the Geophagus finni really being the showstoppers. But again, more to come on this tank very soon. But then if we come over here to the 90 gallon discus tank, not a lot to update here. The 6 discus that I got a couple months back are all doing really well. They're eating, they're putting on a little bit more size. The plants are doing okay, but because the bio load's pretty light in this tank right now, I do need to increase the amount of fertilizer I'm putting in this tank. I also added Aquarium Co-op's light to this tank recently, so it's a higher intensity light, and some of these plants should really start to flourish. I'm going to be adding new plants and tank mates to this very soon, but again, that has really been held up based on the new custom aquarium taking a little bit longer than expected. But there's going to be so much happening in just a span of a few weeks, so I cannot wait to keep the channel updated on this tank and the rest. And then moving into the fish room around the corner here, I have 5 other tanks up and running, including my 75 gallon peacock and hap tank, which we'll get to last because it's the most important. There are a couple 20 gallon grow out tanks on the right, but on the left, my double rack has a 40 gallon cold water aquarium with some Geophagus terra purpura. And these guys are starting to come out of their shell a little bit, being a little less shy, so this tank's starting to look a little bit better. I did have a huge issue with my shell dweller tank though. As you'll see, I currently have a sponge filter and a random heater in here because I had a huge heater malfunction in this tank. Unfortunately, I came down here and saw some of the fish were struggling. I investigated it quickly and realized that the water temperature was very hot. and my heater had just gone nuts. This is the Cobalt Neotherm heater, which is only about a year old, but it basically got my temperature up to like 95 or 100 degrees, and I lost about 5 different adult shell dwellers. So I still have a really big colony of these guys. I'm just really glad I caught it sooner than later, but it really was a bummer to see a few of those fish die based on equipment failure like that. It is just something you deal with in the hobby, but I definitely won't be getting that heater ever again. So now for the 75-gallon Peacock and Hap tank and the 2 20-gallon grow outs. So the Peacocks and Haps look absolutely incredible. They are super colored up and they have put on some really great size, but all of these guys will be going into that upgraded tank. I cannot wait for it. They are growing and coloring up at the perfect time. They are almost busting out of this tank, and I cannot wait to see what they'll look like in the new aquarium. And then over here, my top 20-gallon, I have some other Peacocks growing out. I definitely have a couple males in this group, and I think I'll be able to add them into the custom aquarium, if not right away, maybe pretty soon after the setup of that tank. And lastly, we have the electric blue acara grow outs that really need a bigger tank or to be sent to my local fish store, so I'm going to be doing that very soon. That opens up a lot of tank space. I can either put all the electric blue acaras temporarily into the 75-gallon tank as more of a bigger grow out tank, but a lot of this tank space is going to be opened up once that custom aquarium is here, and I can order new fish for the discus tank and new fish for the custom aquarium. I have a few more Peacocks and Haps I want to order, and that just opens up a lot of tank space for quarantine and holding tanks. And so a lot of these fish are just going to be moved around here very soon, and I cannot wait. Can't wait! I have a few big items to unbox here that I'm very excited about. Custom Aquarium sent these ahead of time since the tank itself was a little bit delayed. Also, if you hear some water running, I am doing a water change as I unbox this. So always something happening down here in my basement. Let's go ahead and unbox these and check it out. If these are packaged up like the tanks themselves from Custom Aquariums, it might take me all day to unbox this. We'll see. Alright, here we go. We have biomedia and a lot of it. We also have some trays. So we got our biomedia and the 5 trays that it will go within. And in the box we have the Seamless Sump from Custom Aquariums. This comes out in little modular units, and I'm going to put them all out on the table here. So let's snap to that now. So that was box 1 with the first 2 parts of the Seamless Sump from Custom Aquariums. I absolutely love this sump. I have it running on my 150. I can't remember the exact name of the material of the sump. I'll probably put that in text on the screen. But it's extremely durable. It doesn't accumulate algae or debris, and it's pretty lightweight. You don't have to worry about breaking glass or anything like that. Can't say enough great things about this Seamless Sump. So let's go ahead and get this second box open. And we have some of the plumbing pieces right here. I actually don't know what this is. I'll have to take a closer look. But this piece of plumbing here connects the reservoir unit, which is in this box, to the rest of the sump. So let's check out the reservoir. At first, it looks like there are really nice glass lids that go on each of the different units. So I'll put this somewhere where I don't step on it and break it. And let's get this guy out of the box too. Whoa. So I just flipped this around so you get a better look at the Seamless Sump and kind of how it works. Water will come down through the drain lines into the first unit here through a couple of filter socks which are applied already. It will then fill up the second container here, which will have those 5 different trays full of biomedia. Once the water fills up and goes through all of that great bio and chemical filtration, it will then fill up this third and last modular unit, and this is where the return pump and the return hose will go. And for that, I have a Cichlid Syncra SDC 6.0, which to me is the best pump on the market. I've had it on my 150 for about a year now. It's so quiet, reliable, has a 5-year warranty. We've used Cichlid products for so long, I would always recommend it. And for everything I'm talking about in every video, I leave affiliate links down in the description below if you're interested in getting any of these products for yourself. But this pump will be pushing water back up to the tank. I'll probably have a Y split on the 2 returns, so it goes in each of the top corners of the Custom Aquarium, just like I have on my 150 here. It's very efficient, and I just can't wait to get it all put together. And then in the last chamber here, this is the reservoir unit. This actually just holds more water volume so that if you ever have evaporation in the tank, it kind of dissipates that issue and just gives you more water volume in total on your tank. It also gives you a little more area to work with if you want to do something like a refugium, a skimmer. I think they would work in that chamber. I've never done that myself. I just use it as extra water volume for my tank. So if the tank is 150 and these two units maybe hold 30 gallons of water. This is maybe another 30. So it's just really good to have that extra water volume anytime you have a tank. So I'm going to reveal a little bit more about the tank. I'm just too excited not to share a little bit more. But one of the most exciting things about the new tank will be this clear water algae scrubber.
I want that.
So this is something I've never tried before, but it's going to be an enhancement for this African cichlid tank, as I'm going to have a lot of peacocks and haps, and I can't really have live plants in that tank. They'll just destroy it. And in a tank like that with African cichlids that might be overstocked, it's just a ton of water changes. And since I already have some big tanks down here doing water changes like I am right now, this should hopefully reduce the need for water changes on that tank by a lot. So I'm going to quickly explain how this works. So we have the sump here that we just walked through. As water goes through the sump and gets to the last chamber, there's going to be a second pump from Cichlid, which is, you guessed it, another Syncra SDC. This one's smaller, it's a 3.0. So it will be sitting next to the big pump that's going back to the tank. And instead, this smaller pump will be feeding up to the algae scrubber. So the algae scrubber will be sitting on top of the sump here. The water will come up from the pump and into this chamber. So in the algae scrubber, we have the lid, and then we have this sheet. We'll start developing algae very soon once we turn it all on and get it all flowing. Water will be continuously flowing through this algae scrubber, and as it does, these two 10-watt lights on either side will be on and developing algae within the box. And very similar to live plants, algae will feed on nitrates in your tank and actually reduce your nitrate levels significantly. On some planted tanks like my 150, I really only do a water change every 2 or 3 weeks, and my nitrates always stay very low because it's heavily planted. And the same goes for algae. If you actually have a tank with some algae in it, it's not totally a bad thing unless it's just unsightly. The algae will be reducing your nitrates in the tank, and it shows that your tank is appropriately cycled. If there are nitrates in the tank, that means it's been converted from ammonia to nitrate, which gives the algae a food source to grow on. But anyway, this is very cool. I cannot wait to play around with it and show the full functionality. I'm going to be doing a lot of testing to show how much water changes are reduced on this tank. Especially with this thing running, just to see how it goes, and to just show how often that piece in the middle of this chamber grows algae and just how effective it could be. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully saves me a ton of time, water, and money in the long run. So that's a quick overview of how the filtration is going to work on my new tank. I cannot wait to show it all in action and do some more product reviews. I'll probably do a full video on the algae scrubber, like I said, as I test and see if it does like everything I've heard in terms of performance and water changes. So I cannot wait. So I'm going to pack some of this away until the new tank comes here very soon. And by the looks of my water change, I do need to scrub down the acrylic real quick, so I'm going to get to that. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the current state of my basement and some of the updates and progress that's going to be coming very soon. I cannot wait to show the next few videos. It's going to be awesome. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss those. Thanks again for watching, guys. See you next time.